Hi, welcome to MBTV. My name is Trey. Today we're going to be talking about Enneagram 3. So first we're going to go over the core type description and the wings and how they differ. Then we're going to go into each MBTI type as a core type 3. So some common misconceptions we have with type 3 is that type 3s are superficial or that they're fake. So when it comes to type 3, they can appear this way because what they want is to feel like they have some kind of worth. See, the issue is that as a child or when they were growing up, they somehow received the message that they were worthless, that their identity was worthless. So as a type 3, they want to feel they have some kind of worth. Now, since their own self has been rejected, they can't look within themselves to find worth like most people would. Because with most people, it's just, look within yourself. Just, try to find worth within your own self. For the type 3, they have rejected their self and its worth. And so to look within their own self to find some kind of meaning is worthless. What they start doing is looking to the outside world. Where can I find this worth? How can I attain it? The issue with that is that many people around us in our daily lives don't really understand what worth is, like what worth actually is. A lot of people think it's, having lots of girls or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just lots of people believe that a sense of worth comes from these things. So a lot of times type 3s will surround themselves with nice cars, try to get nice cars, like a nice condo or whatever, just things they can show off, a nice outfit, just nice things. They want to surround themselves with all these nice things so that they can feel they have worth. And why is that? Because everyone in their environment portrays worth to be having nice things and having success and all these different things. So really, a type 3 isn't superficial because they want to be successful. It's just that success is subjective. It's portrayed by everyone in the area. So what we need to ask for a type 3 is, what do you find successful? Because you can't trust the people around you to tell you exactly what success is or where to find your worth. You can't listen to them and believe what they have to say. So let's jump into type 3 a little bit more. So besides just wanting to feel like they have some kind of worth, they have this drive. And it's because it's so connected to the heart. 3 is the one that represses the heart. So for them, it's not necessarily a repression, it's just that it's all clogged up, so they kind of go to the outside world for that. They look to the outside world for this worth, and because it is their own worth and it's their own identity that is being attacked, a lot of times they'll do anything to get there, and type 3s are usually very hard workers for that same reason. What they want to hear is that people appreciate them. Now, self-preservation type 3s won't necessarily be as focused on getting that confirmation from the outside world. However, many 3s do still need some kind of confirmation that they are worthy and they do have some kind of worth. My advice to a type 3 would be, find people like Tony Robbins, for example, and study their life and see how they've risen to success the way they have, but they still have these morals and guidelines that make their lives rich and successful. It's just important to recognize that the lifestyle that Tony Robbins takes on is very fulfilling. And so he has gotten to success in a very healthy way. You just have to recognize that you cannot take anyone else's word as to what success and worth is. You have to find that within yourself. Now, a lot of people would say, whoa, hold on. You said that you can't find it within yourself because a type 3 has rejected self. Well, a lot of type 3s actually have this one sense to them. This one kind of modifies the 3 a bit. And it's not that you actually are a 1. They just have this sense, this inner self that a 1 would have. And that's very important because in the type 1, they have a hard time with their instincts. And so they have to look within themselves to understand their instincts. But for a type 3, they have a problem with their identity. So they have to look within themselves to find their identity. Now, a lot of people would say that that's more of a 4 thing to do, and it may be. But the 3 really has to understand what they value, what they see as successful, what they think is good. And they cannot take anyone else's word for it, because if they do, then they'll just become that image. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the wings in the type 3. So for type 3, we have a 3-wing 2 and a 3-wing 4. The attitude that these usually take on is that the 3 wants to explain to you, help you to achieve the success that they have gotten. And they'll be like, well, this is how I became successful. This is how I did that. This is how I did that. As if everything they have learned, they're giving it to you. It's this help that they're going to give to you. Actually, make a 3 happy to know that you see them as a helpful person, that you would come to them for advice. Type 3 would like that. Now, a 3-wing 4 is more about being authentic, more about knowing yourself and finding things about yourself that are different and capitalizing on them is usually what they do. So for a 3-wing 4, they want others to think they're authentic. It's a special orientation to being authentic, and the same can be said for the 3-wing 2, who would want a special orientation to being helpful. But the 3-wing 4 is really going to want to identify with an image of being unique, but their actual regular image of success and worth is going to supersede it. It's going to be more important, and then it moves into the 3-wing 4, which is all about authenticity. So what's going to end up happening is, as long as they are seen as authentic, it's a good thing. What would be really important for a type 3-wing 4 is to find somebody who is really good at understanding what authenticity is, who could really tell you that you aren't being yourself, who can see that what you're doing is superficial. Now, it's not necessarily superficial, and I think we all need to recognize that the feeling that a type 3 has is very strong. They're definitely going to feel this feeling of, I need to feel like I have worth. I mean, just imagine the identity has been crushed. It's definitely important that we recognize that the 3 really has rejected self, but because of that, it causes deep feelings that they have to recognize, because a lot of times type 3 bury themselves in work and then don't recognize that they are ignoring their feelings actively. Anyone that's a type 3, I would recommend finding people who can tell you whether or not they think you're being superficial or doing something for an image. People that will be honest with you in that way. Now, that may be a bit hurtful to you because you may see that this person does not think you are authentic, especially if you're a 3-wing 4. But it's very important for your development to understand who you believe you should be or who you believe is worthwhile. Everyone has worth. So it's important for the type 3 to recognize what is success and worth to them. What makes you have worth as a person? Because you do have worth, but don't reject yourself. Even though the type 3 is rejecting the self in a way, it's important to recognize that they can still find out who they are. There is still a sense of right and wrong and a sense of that's not gone. So you would have to ask yourself what these things are, what it is that you think is right and wrong, what it is that you think is this or that or what the other. And then using that stuff, build who you are, build your image. If people don't appreciate that, you're probably around the wrong people. So now I'm going to go ahead and talk about the core type 3 as every MBTI type. However, I'm going to start with the dominant function and explain the dominant functions for each one. So let's start with extroverted thinking. As a dominant extroverted thinking core type 3, we have someone that is out of touch with their FI, doesn't really know what they want necessarily. They're more focused on what everyone else wants around them. A type 3 ENTJ is going to be very extroverted, looking around them for what people think is successful, what people think is worth, what people define worth as, and what they're going to do is go along trying to succeed in those things. And the dominant extroverted thinking, of course, is going to be very focused on achieving those things, especially with the 3. They're going to be very focused and oriented towards work. Now, of course, like I said earlier, in order to be a healthy 3, you have to understand what it is that you want as an individual or what you see as successful. And then that should be used to define what it is that you create, what it is that you change in the real world, because that's what extroverted thinking does. It's external logical consistency. It's moving things around and making sure they're all consistent logically. You're going to be changing these things based off an FI issue or problem. You're going to say, I feel this way, and so I'm going to change my environment to match that logically. Now what we're going to do is talk about introverted thinking as a core type 3. With introverted thinking, they are more focused on a system, more focused on making sure that their internal logical mind is consistent. Now for a core type 3 INTP or ISTP, they're going to want to look good in everything they do. Now, they're focused on internal logical consistency. So everything that they're going to do is probably going to be a system oriented towards looking good. A system, a logical system to understand what it is that will make them look better. And so everything that they do is probably going to take their life and the structure of their life and try to find variables that they can fit in that will make them look better. For ISTPs, they're probably going to do some really cool stuff. ISTPs are known to be legendary in the sense that they just do really crazy stuff that makes them look awesome. So a type 3 ISTP is going to be really cool looking. A type 3 INTP, I can see that they will use more wording to make themselves look better. They'll change their wording up to make their image look better quite a bit. And all type 3s will do that, but I can see an INTP cataloging this a little bit better. For the extroverted feeling core type 3, what we have is a person that is trying to look good, helping other people. And when I say helping other people, it's not necessarily like a 2. It's more about making sure that everyone in the environment has consistent values. That's what a type 3 is trying to achieve, but they want to be recognized doing it. That's what a dominant extroverted feeling type, core type 3, wants to achieve. They want to be seen for that. They want others to recognize that they are helping others, or that they are peaceful, or whatever it is that their extroverted feeling is attaining. Now, of course, that's going to depend on your other types in your 3 Enneagram type, but the type 3 extroverted feeling type is going to want to be recognized for that. If anything, the core extroverted feeling type is going to be much more TE oriented. They're just going to be using FE, extroverted feeling. The qualities and traits of an extroverted thinker will be seen in the extroverted feeling type. They'll orient their lives and they'll try to be as productive as possible, but that's only if that's what the image is. If the image is something else, if the image is being attractive, or I can see a type 3 extroverted feeling type very focused on relationships in the real world and probably really good in dating, trying to be seen for this dating ability, seeing that they can get lots of women. That's what a type 3 extroverted feeling type would want. However, that depends on the type of success that they've modeled. It may be something else. They may model working hard, and they may start trying to attain that. And that's how all the different types are. They'll do what they do best, but they'll probably settle in the part of the world or the expertise or skill where it models after their MBTI type and also their Enneagram type. So for dominant introverted feeling types as a type 3, this is going to be a big struggle for the dominant introverted feeling type, because dominant introverted feeling types want to be as authentic as possible, but they're going to want to look good and have this sense of identity and worth. That's what the type 3 INFP or ISFP would want. I can definitely see them relating this to a relationship model where it's more about understanding other people and understanding self as a type 3. So they want to look good in that sense. They want to be successful and be recognized as somebody who knows themselves or as somebody who understands others. And so this is going to be a chasing after of understanding people and being seen for that, because that introvert feeling, putting themselves in others' shoes, that's probably what they're going to model themselves after. That's what introverted feeling is, and it's probably what they're going to look like when they try with a type 3. For a dominant extroverted intuitive core type 3, what we'll find is somebody who keeps changing things. The dominant extroverted intuition is always trying to improve on an SI archetype, something that is a certain way of doing things. The dominant extroverted intuitive wants to change those things and improve on them. So for a dominant extrovert intuitive type 3, it's going to be about finding the perfect image, and it's going to be very hard for them to do that because things could always be better. Things could always be changed. If something pops up in their environment, like an object or something, or some kind of idea in their head where they think, oh, this is what I'll want, this is what will make me look good, that's what they'll exploit. That's what they'll chase after. They'll run after those things that will make them look better. So their image and everything that they do, they're going to be pretty scattered like dominant extroverted intuitives are. But honestly, to look successful or to look like they have worth, a lot of times it requires focus on one area. So they're probably going to have a lot of different things that they hyper-focus on, that they have a lot of attention on many, many different things. Their type ENTP and ENFP energy will probably lead them into that. For a dominant NI type, an INTJ or a INFJ, it's going to be about looking good. The INFJ is probably going to be more focused on the social aspect of it. And the INTJ is going to be more focused on the productive side of it, the extroverted thinking, external consistency side of it. Finding an INTJ type 3 isn't very likely. However, if you ever did find one, they would recognize patterns that make them look good. However, they're going to be focused on this making yourself look better in the world and the way that things work in the environment, in the workplace, and anything else. They're going to want to look good like a type 3 would and have recognition. So they will find patterns that will get people to recognize when they are worthwhile or when they have this positive image of success. That's what they'll do. They'll try to find what other people will think of them as successful. They'll try to predict that based off of some SE data they've collected, and then they'll try to project that and jump into it. However, a type 3 INTJ might have difficulty with jumping into that because of the inferior extrovert sensing. It might be kind of hard to do that. However, this might mean that they would get much better with their extrovert sensing. Now for a dominant extrovert sensing type as type 3. These people are going to be looking for real things in the real world that are going to make them look better. I can see a ESTP or ESFP looking for things around them that will make them look better. My little brother is actually a ESTP type 3, and he looks for things and pushes the limits to make himself look better. With my parents, he will actually ask lots of questions about getting a new basketball or some new Jordans or whatever. He's identified with this basketball successful image. So for him, it's all about looking good in that sense. So when it comes to basketball and being an NBA star, he wants all the things that the NBA stars have. He wants a nice jersey, he wants a nice basketball, he wants nice socks, nice shoes. And so what he'll do is he will ask and ask and ask and ask and ask because he's trying to see what he can do to get what he wants, which is the dominant extrovert sensing, introverted thinking, and introverted intuition. He's trying to attain that. For him, he's looking for those things in the real world. He wants to have those things to make him look successful, to make him look like he's achieving things. Anytime there's a really popular NBA star, he'll focus and study their moves, and he will start to attain them himself. For him, he wants to look like an NBA star. He wants people to tell him, you look like so-and-so. He said it before. He'll do all the moves of a certain person, and then he'll get excited because someone said, oh, you look like Michael Jordan, or whatever. He'd probably laugh at me right now. He doesn't want to look like Michael Jordan. He wants to look like someone I couldn't remember. So for the introverted sensing type 3, what we have is someone who has a set idea of what success is. They have a clear definition of what it is to be full of worth, what it is to have success. So for a introverted sensing type, it's going to probably be more traditional, but it's going to be very clear to them, this is what I need to do to create that. The ISTJ is going to be more focused on taking that sense of what it really is, of what success is, and they want that. So in the same way that ESTP is going to find things, they will probably do the same thing. However, it's going to be more about having a clear idea of what success is to them. It's going to be very precise and very clear what success actually is. Thank you so much for watching my Type 3 Enneagram video. You can check out our other stuff. We have dating, we have NLP stuff coming up, we have MBTI, cognitive series. If you know anything about the cognitive functions, extroverted thinking, introverted thinking, all the ones I went over in this video, we have some really good videos that are almost all complete that you can go check out right now. So you should check that out, you should subscribe, and you should check out our Patreon as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you soon. Ciao.
So you can accordingly joke with them and not just joke with them in a way that means more to them, but you want to get a sense of who they are so you can establish that humor and really make that connection if it's going to be there or not. This is a really important one. After the first date, did you escalate, or did you both escalate? Did you both intimately connect somehow? Did you kiss? Did you hold hands? Did you sleep with her? Did you sleep with him?